The Cavaliers evened this series at 2 games apiece, and it took a record-tying performance from Donovan Mitchell in the second half to propel them to a comfortable win. But it's not enough to celebrate the highlights and wait around till Game 5. We must examine his scoring explosion to figure out what the Pistons did wrong, why the Don looked so strong, and how this series will go long. It all started, not surprisingly, with James Harden. Rather than let him cook on an island, they bring Jalen Duren over to shadow at the block. This worked for them once in the first half since it dissuades any type of drive and might lure a contested outside shot. We can see the L shape formed around the lane by the weak side defenders. But Harden doesn't take the bait and jack up a bad shot this time. He drives right towards the help, not to somehow get to the basket, but to collapse the defense and make Ausar Thompson think he's going to skip to the marksman in the corner. That opens up a 45 cut for Mitchell, who gets an opening for the two-footed push shot through a little contact. The Pistons still had the lead at this point and had no reason to believe they were about to be subject to a Donovan bomb detonating all over them. But I'd still like to see more urgency from Cade Cunningham to get over in position. While he did maintain legal guarding position, which is directly in the path and squared up to the driver, he tried a veteran trick of holding out his hand to go for the subtle strip, but ends up making illegal contact across the wrist. Great eyes by the refs to see it, and tough shot making over his shoulder to get the and one. At this point, there's still no cause for concern by the Pistons, even though they've lost their 4-point halftime lead. This contact in the backcourt was deemed incidental because Thompson made a good effort to get out of his way. And don't forget, unlike high school rules, NBA players are allowed to fall to the floor with the ball as long as they don't gain an advantage. This ended up confusing the defense. With Mitchell on the floor, we have no defensive communication, so Thompson goes to pick up his normal man when, in fact, he must pick up the ball, and Cunningham should be calling this out. As a result, this just went from a 4-on-5 advantage for the defense to a major benefit for the offense, as Cade is not in the correct position as he wanders into the lane. Tobias Harris properly rotated over. Duren is in the proper spot on the weak side block, and Duncan Robinson properly sprints to cover the corner shooter. Cunningham makes a mistake by running there as well. And now, there's no one left to get to the one more pass, leaving the one guy you cannot allow to get hot, a shot that is so wide open he can lick his thumb and check the wind first. At this point, I can't say the Pistons' shot selection was bad exactly, but they're now in the midst of a 10-0 run with 4 straight missed baskets versus good defense, plus an unnecessary forearm jab to Harden's back on this screen that led to a turnover. Let's see what the Cavs want on this play. Good step up by Harris to push Mitchell away from the screen where Cunningham can maintain good position. Watch what happens when you set a ball screen with an elite shooter. Robinson plays this as a hedge to alter Mitchell's path long enough for Cade to sprint underneath and get back between the ball and the basket. And Cade plays this as a switch, sticking to the shooter. By the time Robinson figured this all out, Mitchell was already demonstrating the cheat code for shooting threes off the dribble, floating the ball and then dipping it down before rising up into the shot, just like he does for his catch and shoot threes. This is now a 13-0 run, you're on the road in front of a hostile crowd, and a chance to end this series early is slipping away. Instead, they run a quick drag screen that does cause some confusion as both Dean Wade and Jarrett Allen step up to the ball. Now, Cade has been suffering from a horrible case of turnoveritis all series long. I mean, if you throw a ball out of bounds, at least the defense has a chance to get back and in position for a stop. But some of these have been real doozies, and simply not the kind of miscues that a supposed MVP candidate can make in the second round of the playoffs. And the decision here is to shoot the floater, although he's not great at those, or kick it out to an open Harris in the corner who has been scorching all series long from back there. But the decision to throw a chest pass straight ahead with the defender standing right there is hard to fathom. And this led directly to Harden finding an advantage with early offense on the baseline drive past Duncan Robinson. Duren must rotate over, Harris must sink down, Cunningham sprints to the kickout. This was all great team defense, right until the point where Thompson foolishly goes for the pass fake instead of just closing out to the ball. It was a nice pass fake, mind you, but it allows middle penetration, all defensive eyes go to the ball, and Cunningham is late reacting to Harden wide open for the three. And now Bickerstaff has to call timeout to stop the bleeding. With a 16-point swing in less than 4 minutes, the crowd is completely whipped into a frenzy, and this would have been a great time to make some in-game decisions using Prize Picks. They're now a preferred partner of the NBA. Not only can you win cash by picking higher or lower on a variety of box score categories, now that the playoffs are heating up, they've got a Do It Live 2026 NBA Finals sweepstakes. Pick live squares during the NBA playoffs, and you can win a trip for two to the NBA Finals. To enter, you just make a $5 lineup with at least one live NBA player pick during any part of the 2026 NBA playoffs. Live player picks are picks made after a game is already in progress. My favorite thing to do is flex play, where I don't even have to nail all my picks to win. These are my 3 picks for tonight's games, and if I make it a flex play, I don't even have to nail all of them to win money. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, a preferred partner of the NBA. Desperate for a basket, Bickerstaff calls horns into a 77 double ball screen. Notice Caris LeVert cutting across the baseline to clear out the left side, which does allow Cade to reject the screen and attack to his left, but it leads to terrible spacing in the weak side corner. Cade looks like he's making a pass in a drill with no defense, forgetting to check where Mitchell was and just throws it to him. Now they've got a cross match on the left with Harris, who does an admirable job to keep Don in front and contests the shot tightly, but the Pistons have already let him catch fire. And if you don't believe in the hot hand, I present to you this shot. I don't know what else to say about Cade at this point other than he's in full panic mode, just throwing the ball to the other team. And this is where I started wondering about the coaching. Why wasn't there an adjustment to double Mitchell early and get it out of his hands? I know they've still got Harden out there who can do some damage, but the dude is old and shooting under 40% for the series. And you can't let Mitchell dance one-on-one into this gorgeous spin move over a decent contest from the help defender. And if Paul Reed thinks he can jab step show at Mitchell near half court and somehow backpedal fast enough, forget about it. He'll be turning his hips and opening the gate in no time, and Mitchell hits him with the one-handed off-foot quick release off the glass for a layup and a 19-point lead. Another confounding defensive possession where the Pistons were content to show him the same look with Paul Reed shadowing on the block. Robinson can't double off of Merrill, and we can see Schroeder setting a flare screen for a skip to Strus in the corner. So bring Reed up early to double while LeVert steps inside of Allen and make anybody else beat you. Instead, it's a wicked crossover into the middle. Reed is waiting right there but doesn't make an effort to contest the shot, and the lead grows. Into the fourth, and there's still no adjustment to get it out of Mitchell's hands early, so he just uses an explosive skip dribble to get Jenkins on his side and quick releases through illegal contact for some free throws. The Pistons were fine with just shadowing Mitchell and letting him be as aggressive as he wanted to be instead of blasting the ball out of his hands early. And while this one could have been an offensive foul as he used his off arm to create some separation, while the reaction by Thompson wasn't pain from his midsection but rather rolling his ankle slightly, and they're forced to foul Mitchell before he scores. The game did creep a little bit closer midway through the quarter, and the 3-guard lineup of Schroeder, Harden, and Mitchell had only played in 7 of the 11 total playoff games, but has been very positive for him as they can let Schroeder run the point. It works even better when Ausar Thompson falls asleep on the weak side and allows Mitchell to get open along the baseline, and his hands in the waist was just enough to earn him another shooting foul. And there's always a dagger when a player gets as hot as Mitchell was. And the only question you have to ask is, why the Pistons let him do it? As he makes a big statement on Cade Cunningham's head with this vicious move. Cross, tween, jab, step back, high arcing, and swish to end the Pistons' night early and allow the Cavs to come back to Detroit with all the momentum in a game that will most likely decide this series. Will they get another outburst like this from Mitchell? Probably not, but if the Pistons have no ability to adjust their defense, it's a lot more likely to happen, and I'll be asking you, can you hear me shaking my head?